Hi, good morning. How are you doing? Happy new month. This is the first day of the month of August. This is also the first trading day in the month of August. So, how did your portfolio fare last month? Was it in the green? Was it in the red? Was it in between? Let me know in the comment section. And what would you be watching for this month? Or what were you watching last month and why? Also, let me know in the comment section. This is the very first pre-market video for this month. This is also the last pre-market video for this week. Stock markets on the NGX will be closed on Friday. I mean, after Friday, markets don't open. So the next pre-market video you have will be on Monday, but not to worry. I have a couple of videos that will be out over the weekend. Before you get into it, please like, share, subscribe. It helps grow the channel, it helps with the algorithm. And thank you to everyone who has taken out the time to do so. So do like, share, subscribe. If you find the content useful, you can share on your timeline. You can share on your stories, whether it's IG stories, TikTok stories, WhatsApp stories. So let's just get content out there and let's have more people aware about financial markets, and hopefully it encourages people to or helps people in their journey on being better investors. As always, please note that this is content, it's not trading or investment advice. Please do your own research. You can't base your investment decisions on what people say or what people do. You need to do your own research. I mean, there's so many classes coming up in the next, I would say, couple of weeks. If you're active on Twitter, active on Instagram, I mean, there's just so many classes, free classes, so you don't have to pay. Go learn about investing in stocks. Learn as much as you can. But don't simply just say or feel because someone is talking about a stock, whether in good terms or bad terms, then you should base your investment decision on their views. Please do your own research. Criteria for my watch list: price and volume movement, as well as corporate actions. Corporate actions are any announcements that are made by a firm. First on my watch list today, the key items, you have Oando and consolidated Hallmark. Why do I have these two? Oando dropped its H1 2025 results after trading hours yesterday. I mean, the numbers were essentially flattish compared year on year. And in case you're wondering what H1 is, H1 is the first 6 months of a company's financial year. And typically those run from January to December. So the first 6 months are from January to June, and then the second 6 months are from July to December. So Oando dropped his H1 25 results yesterday. Numbers were flattish, but it's hard to predict. Markets are not rational. So it could be positive, it could be negative reaction to the numbers. Consolidated Hallmark dropped its H1 25 results after trading hours as well. There was a sharp dip in profit after tax due to FX losses and higher insurance expenses. So I'll be looking towards how markets would react to this. It could also be positive or it could also be negative. So let's see how it goes. In UAC and FCMB group are the last stocks I'll be watching today. Why? They both have earnings calls. There was an earnings call yesterday by Dangote Cement as well as by Nigerian Breweries. Couldn't make that of Nigerian Breweries, but I'd be searching online to see if I can get replay or the details. Truth be told, it's extremely hard getting replays. So as much as possible, whenever you see details of these calls or wherever you see them, you can try and join these calls. And even if you can't stay on, I mean, you could just maybe record the calls and have your notes, or just have someone take notes. So FCMB will be having UAC will having the call by 2 p.m. I mean, UAC has been in the news the last couple of days. Potential large acquisition. They're going to be buying Chivita Hollandia, and that's the firm behind the popular Hollandia yogurt and Chivita fruit juice. Coca-Cola owns it at the moment, but Coca-Cola, if regulatory approval is given, will be selling to them. So what analysts would want to know is, How are you going to fund this? Why are you buying this? And what are your expectations? Expectations of when the deal will close and your plans for the brand. I mean, it's a big deal because I can't remember when last UAC made such a large acquisition. In fact, when last UAC made an acquisition, if memory serves me correct, um, I think the last major size transaction like this probably was a few years ago, where UAC divested, if I recall correctly, for the order of proceedings are correct. UAC divested its stake or reduced its stake rather in UPDC. I've forgotten the mechanics. I know there was some swap of shares and all that, but that's probably the last major movement in companies that you've seen in the UAC fold. FCMB Group H125 calls will be by 3 p.m. today. I mean, FCMB numbers came out a few days ago. Um, they weren't too bad, but as an analyst, I'm wondering the provisions, impairment provisions they made were kind of pretty low, and maybe I'll probably jump online to explain after I've run through the videos and all that to explain what I mean and why I'll be looking at those numbers. So I mean, kudos to both firms. They do calls literally every first 3 quarters, and you don't have to struggle for call details. You can find call details in the earnings release, which makes my job as an analyst pretty easy. A lot of the IR firms, investor relations units, desks, teams they're not very responsive. So when I see firms that have pretty decent communication, at least in sharing call details, then you should give a shout out to them. So for more content, check out greenticketales.com. Check out the Green Ticket Tales podcast as well. It's on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and YouTube Music. All links are in my bio. So if you check the bio on YouTube, you find all the links. If you are watching this on LinkedIn, because this also goes to my LinkedIn, drop it in the comment section or probably look for the links and drop them underneath this video when it goes out, as always. So if you have questions as well, you can drop your questions in the comment section or send an email to info@greenticketales.com. And thank you. Now, just before I disappear, for those who would stay to the end, how do I minimize this? Great. So I just would share what I meant by FCMB provisions being a bit lower than expected. And so you can see impairment losses here. It's about 36.2 billion. Yeah, about the same last period or the same period last year. So the numbers aren't too bad. I mean, profit is up. Gross earnings are up. Earnings per share is what? Is this Kobo? Hopefully not. I wish I could do the math. Let's see. You have profit after tax of 73.4 billion. How many shares does just FCMB have? FCMB has this is what 39.6 billion shares. So if I divide 39.6 by 73.4 divided by 39.6, what does that give me? That should give me around 2 naira. 73.4 divided by 39.6. That's 1 naira and 85 kobo. So that's, I'm guessing that they probably annualized this. So I don't know. Stock price is 10 naira. I mean, the ideal way to calculate this is you try and calculate, and if you follow me on Twitter, I probably did a few tweets on this result, is to calculate the book value per share. And how do you do that? Next page. Oh, they gave me the breakdown of, let's see, assets, 7.5 trillion in assets, and you subtract 6.7 trillion in liabilities. That gives you around what? 747 or so. So if you divide 747 by 39.6, 747, 747 divided by 39.6, 39.6. Really? So that's a book value per share of 18 naira. So ideally, if you were to strip away liabilities from assets, what you have, book value per share of 18 naira and 8 kobo. The stock is trading at 10 naira. So potential upside of what? Over 50%, So it's not in a bad place, but people have questions, because if I go to the original statements, and for those who are still staying on, thank you for doing so. For those who don't, I guess you'd miss out on this. There was a statement. Where was the statement? I think it was this. Right? So what the firm essentially states here is that, look, you have loans under forbearance that CBN had given some allowance to kind of will I say, softer conditions. I had given allowance for that. And so those loans are 207 billion. Essentially, those loans are problematic loans. And so one was expecting that they would make bigger provisions for these loans, because if essentially these loans have been troublesome. 207.6 billion in these loans. At the best, you were expecting that these you probably would have bigger write-offs. So it's not pretty clear, and I'm sure analysts will have lots of questions on that course. So anyways, I thank you for staying all through. I didn't plan to analyze this, but I just thought, well, since it's coming up on the call, and since it's what I'll be watching out for, and I don't know if I'm going to do videos on the calls, maybe I'll do YouTube shorts. But anyways, see you all sometime tomorrow morning. I would have a video up, and I'm thinking I have a couple of announcements to make, so you'd have to watch out for tomorrow's video. Anyways, see you guys. Have a profitable trading day and have a profitable August ahead.